Some children never really get to be children. They become the calm one during arguments, the one who notices when someone is upset, the one who says the right thing at the right time. Adults call them so mature for their age. They're praised for it. Responsible, understanding, easy to deal with. But years later, something strange often happens. Those same children grow into adults who feel deeply alone, even when they have friends, even when people like them. And the reason isn't obvious, because the very thing everyone admired in them may be the same thing that quietly shaped their loneliness. To understand why, we need to go back to childhood. Not the loud, chaotic childhood some people had, but the quiet one. The child who sits at the dinner table while their parents argue. They don't yell, they don't cry, they just sit there, listening, watching, trying to understand. Maybe they comfort their mother later. Maybe they distract their younger sibling. Maybe they tell themselves, I just need to be strong. Nobody told them to do this. But they did it anyway, because children are incredibly sensitive to emotional environments. And some children learn very early that the safest way to survive their home is to become emotionally mature. They read the room, they manage their feelings, sometimes they even manage other people's feelings. They become the peacemaker, the responsible one, the good kid. But here's the part people rarely talk about. Emotional maturity in children often isn't natural. It's adaptive. It develops when a child feels like they have to understand emotions earlier than they should, when the environment feels unpredictable, when adults are overwhelmed, when someone in the family needs emotional support, but the child becomes the one giving it. And slowly, the child learns a quiet rule: don't cause problems. Be easy, be understanding, take care of others. It looks like maturity, but underneath it, something else is forming. Because when a child becomes the emotionally mature one, they often stop expressing their own needs. They become experts at understanding others, but beginners at being understood. Pause for a moment and think about this. Were you ever the child who listened more than you spoke? The one who noticed everything? The one who tried to keep the peace? If so, you may already feel where this story is going, because those children grow up. And when they become adults, people still see the same qualities. They're calm, empathetic, reliable. They're the friend everyone vents to, the one people go to for advice. They're the strong one, but something subtle happens in their relationships. They're always there for others, but rarely feel fully seen themselves. They listen deeply, but don't always feel safe sharing deeply. And over time, this creates a quiet imbalance, not because people don't care about them, but because the emotionally mature child learned something very early: how to carry emotions, not how to receive care. Think about the friend who always gives the best advice. Everyone trusts them, everyone respects them, but when they're struggling, they hesitate to reach out. They think things like, I should be able to handle this. I don't want to burden anyone. I'll deal with it myself. And this is where loneliness begins. Not dramatic loneliness, not the kind where someone has no one, but a quieter kind. The kind where you feel emotionally alone, even in relationships, because you've spent so many years being the stable one, the understanding one, the strong one. And when you're always the strong one, people assume you don't need support. But that assumption didn't start with them. It started with the child who learned to hide their own needs. Here's another pause moment. Think about the last time you truly asked someone for emotional support, not advice, not a casual conversation, but real vulnerability. For many emotionally mature kids turned adults, that moment is rare, not because they don't feel deeply, but because they learned to process things internally. They became self-reliant, independent, capable, but emotional self-reliance can come with a hidden cost. It can make intimacy difficult because true connections require something uncomfortable. Letting someone see you when you're not the strong one. Letting someone see confusion, fear, need. And for people who grew up being the emotional anchor, that can feel unfamiliar. Sometimes even unsafe. So they keep doing what they've always done. They listen, they help, they understand, but they rarely let the roles reverse. And over time, They start to feel like something is missing. They watch other people lean on each other, share vulnerabilities, ask for comfort, and part of them wonders, why does that feel so hard for me? Here's the quiet twist. Being emotionally mature isn't the problem. Your empathy isn't the problem. Your sensitivity isn't the problem. Those qualities are powerful. They allow you to see people deeply, to understand things others miss, to care in ways that truly matter. The problem isn't emotional maturity. The problem is when that maturity was built on silence, on self sacrifice, on the belief that your needs should come second. Because real emotional maturity isn't just understanding others, it's allowing yourself to be understood too. It's learning that needing support doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And sometimes, the most important step for the emotionally mature child is learning something they were never taught growing up, that they're allowed to take up emotional space, they're allowed to say, I'm not okay, they're allowed to ask for comfort, they're allowed to be the one who leans on someone else. Because a child who had to grow up early deserves, as an adult, to finally experience what it feels like to be cared for too.